Indonesia is spending billions of dollars, not to build a bigger airport, not to build the world's tallest skyscraper, not even to prepare for war. They're building an entirely new capital city because their current one is slowly disappearing. Not from an earthquake, not from a tsunami, not from a volcano, but because the ground itself is quietly sinking beneath millions of people every single day. And here's the part that sounds impossible. The ocean isn't the biggest reason. The people are. Imagine waking up tomorrow. Your bedroom looks exactly the same. Your favorite coffee shop is still across the street. Traffic is just as terrible as yesterday. Everything feels normal, except your entire neighborhood is a little lower than it was last year. No loud warning, no giant crack in the ground, no dramatic disaster movie scene, just a city slowly sinking, centimeter by centimeter, year after year. Sounds like science fiction, except it's happening right now. Welcome to Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia for decades, a city where over 10 million people live. A city packed with skyscrapers, highways, shopping malls, ports, and some of the busiest streets on Earth. But beneath all of that, something invisible is happening. In some areas, Jakarta sinks by as much as 30 centimeters every year. That's nearly the length of a school ruler. Imagine your floor dropping that much every year. In just 5 years, your house could be more than a meter lower, and some neighborhoods have already sunk several meters over the past few decades. Today, around 40% of North Jakarta lies below sea level. Think about that. An entire part of one of the world's largest cities already sits lower than the ocean beside it. So why don't people just leave? Because life doesn't stop. Children still go to school, workers still commute, restaurants still open every morning. People still celebrate birthdays. The city keeps moving, even while it's slowly sinking beneath their feet. And that's what makes this story so strange. Unlike an earthquake, nobody feels it happening. There isn't one terrifying moment. There are thousands of tiny ones. A doorway that suddenly needs an extra step. A road that floods more often than it used to. A wall that develops a crack nobody remembers seeing before. Each change seems small, almost forgettable, until one day, you realize your entire neighborhood has become lower than the sea. So what caused it? Most people think they already know the answer. Climate change, rising sea levels, melting ice caps, case closed. It sounds completely reasonable. After all, you've probably seen images of flooded streets in Jakarta on the news. You've heard that oceans are rising around the world, so naturally the sea must be swallowing the city, right? Well, not exactly. Here's where the story takes a surprising turn. Scientists discovered that in many parts of Jakarta, the land is sinking much faster than the ocean is rising. Let that sink in. Even if sea levels magically stopped rising tomorrow, Jakarta would still continue disappearing, which means the water isn't chasing the city. The city is moving toward the water. That changes everything. Because now we aren't asking, why is the ocean rising? We're asking, what could possibly make an entire city collapse into the ground? Some people blamed earthquakes. Indonesia does sit on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Others blamed unstable foundations or giant underground caves. Honestly, those explanations sound believable. If a city sinks, surely something underneath must have broken, but none of those ideas explain what's actually happening. Jakarta isn't collapsing all at once. It's not falling into a giant hole. It's moving so slowly that you could stand in exactly the same place every day and never notice. Imagine placing a book on your desk. Every day, someone secretly slides a single sheet of paper out from underneath it. One sheet, that's nothing. You'd never notice. But after hundreds or thousands, the book would slowly sink lower and lower. No dramatic moment, just a slow change that eventually becomes impossible to ignore. That's exactly what's happening beneath Jakarta. The real cause isn't hiding above the city. It isn't even visible from the surface. It's buried deep underground. And once you see what's happening beneath people's feet, you'll realize this isn't just Jakarta's problem. It's a warning for cities all over the world. Because the thing making Jakarta disappear is something humans have been doing for centuries. Imagine holding a brand new sponge. It's soft. It's full of tiny holes. Now soak it in water. It becomes thick, strong, and slightly larger. Now squeeze every drop of water out. What happens? The sponge shrinks. It becomes thinner, smaller, and even if you let go, it never returns to exactly the same shape. Believe it or not, that's almost exactly what's happening beneath Jakarta. The ground under the city isn't one giant rock. It's made of layers of soft clay, sand, and sediment. Hidden inside those layers is groundwater. Think of groundwater as a giant underground reservoir, not a massive cave filled with water, but millions of tiny spaces holding water like a soaked sponge. For centuries, nature kept this system in balance. Rainwater seeped into the ground. The underground layers stayed full. Everything remained stable. Then Jakarta exploded in size. More people, more homes, more factories, more offices, more hotels. Everyone needed water, lots of it. The problem? Jakarta's piped water system couldn't keep up. So millions of people started drilling their own wells. Every day, thousands of pumps quietly pulled groundwater. One pump doesn't seem like much, neither do 10 or 100, but imagine millions of straws drinking from the same underground sponge every single day. Eventually, there's not enough water left to support the soil. The tiny spaces that once held water begin to collapse. The soil particles move closer together. The entire ground slowly compresses. And everything sitting on top, roads, homes, schools, skyscrapers, moves downward with it. This process has a name, land subsidence. It sounds harmless, almost boring, but it's one of the most expensive and dangerous problems a city can face, because here's the terrifying part. Once those underground layers collapse, you usually can't undo it, even if heavy rain returns, even if the wells stop pumping tomorrow. The ground doesn't magically rise again. The damage is permanent, but that's only half the story. Now imagine building one of the world's largest cities on top of that already fragile ground. Every skyscraper adds enormous weight, every highway, every shopping mall, every apartment tower. It's like placing hundreds of elephants onto a wet mattress. Eventually, the mattress sinks. Now add another problem. The sea doesn't care that Jakarta is sinking. It keeps rising. Heavy monsoon rains continue. Rivers overflow. Storm surges push seawater inland. Suddenly, water is attacking the city from every direction. From above, from the rivers, from the sea, while the land beneath continues disappearing. That's why some roads in North Jakarta have been rebuilt several times. Not because they wore out, but because the land around them kept sinking. Some houses now sit noticeably lower than nearby streets. In certain neighborhoods, people have had to raise the floors, again and again. Imagine renovating your house every few years, not because you want a nicer kitchen, but because your entire neighborhood keeps getting lower. Eventually, Indonesia faced a question no country wants to ask. Can we actually save our capital? Engineers built massive seawalls, installed giant pumping stations, raised flood barriers, strengthened riverbanks. Entire sections of the coastline were reinforced. These projects slowed the flooding, but they couldn't stop the ground from sinking. It's like trying to fix a leaking roof, while the foundation of your house is still collapsing. Then came a decision that stunned the world. Instead of trying to fight nature forever, Indonesia decided to do something almost unimaginable. It would build an entirely new capital city, not next to Jakarta, not outside Jakarta, over 1,000 kilometers away, on the island of Borneo. The new capital is called Nusantara. Think about how extraordinary that is. Countries build new capitals because of politics, economics, or history. Indonesia is building one because keeping every critical function in a city facing long-term subsidence became a risk. Jakarta isn't being abandoned. Millions of people will continue living and working there. It will remain Indonesia's largest economic center, but its story has changed forever. And maybe the biggest lesson isn't about Jakarta at all, because cities like Mexico City, Bangkok, Venice, and parts of New Orleans face similar challenges, different causes, the same warning. Human civilization has always believed the ground beneath our feet is permanent, unmovable, unshakable, but Jakarta proved something few people ever think about. The earth beneath us isn't just something we build on, it's something we depend on, and if we take more from it than it can replace, it doesn't fight back overnight, it simply disappears. So here's a question you'll probably never look at the same way again. If your city started sinking just a few centimeters every year, how many years would pass before you finally noticed, and would it already be too late?